Hello my dear ones. I've been so busy I haven't been able to get to a video, and then I've been last 5 days on a grape and banana detox. I didn't bring them, but thanks to Ronnie, he introduced me to something, and they're right in Publix's here in Florida, but these are, how many of you like Concord grapes, but you don't like that center nest of seeds? Well, they've got a new Concord organic, Concord seedless grapes. And we all have been shut. Marcy drove around Sarasota, got 17 bags of them. They're incredible. I'm telling you, I've been fasting on them all weekend. They're strong. They're strong. Whether they're hybrids or not, they're pretty strong. And they're like, wow. Matter of fact, it kicked her butt so bad she couldn't even make it in this morning. She just was really kicked from that. I wanted to talk to you guys about why detoxification in the first place. What are we doing? You know, why all of this? But I wanted to also look at this. This is sweet. Eating like monkeys. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So this is a nice coloring book. Really nice. And so she's perfecting it. And that's just what needed to be done. And pretty cool stuff. You know, the more we all do our individual entrepreneurship, and that's what this is about. You know, we can open up so many doors for you guys to be entrepreneurs, to be healers, to write books, to write coloring books, to create art of a much higher order. Not so much still art, living art in consciousness. You know, there's so much that we can open the doors to on this planet, because this planet has to rise up. Don't you agree? I want to thank you for some cards here. It was incredible. This is a beautiful, beautiful card. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for that. Let me see where I'm at here. Oh, I forgot to bring this morning, but I wanted to talk about this. And you know what? I might bring it back this afternoon and go over this. But this gentleman wrote an article about the American Heart Association is a terrorist organization. You know, it's pretty strong words. But when you start to look through it, and he's bringing their focus and how they were created and who they're in bed with, so to speak, with the pharmaceutical companies, the canola oil people, and you see their recommendations always fill into that. They recommend pharmaceuticals like statins and things like this. They recommend a lot of oils, like canola oils and things like this. Their whole thing is saturated oils and coconut oils, and they recently came out and slammed coconut oil. Here's the gig, guys. Except for a few really good medical doctors, most of have absolutely no clue how to cure anything, what causes anything, and let alone about the nutritional and electrical values of foods. So if you're planning on seeing a medical doctor write an article like that, or an association dealing with the AMA that writes articles like that, it comes from a position of extreme unawareness. I could say ignorance, but really spiritually it's unawareness. The sad thing at this point, this unawareness is tainting the minds of people for propaganda purposes. And this is the thing this planet can't handle anymore, is the lies of the corporate people. The lies of the people that see everything as money. You know, the karmic whiplash to these individuals, if they knew better, they would, but it is unawareness. So it is all God again, as life is expressing itself, finding areas that it has to correct, and that's why we're here. The AMA has to be corrected. It is a top killing machine. It is propaganda driven. It's pharma driven. It has nothing in sight but money, money, money. If you talk to the head of the AMA, they don't see you as a patient. They see you as a buyer, a customer. And you've got to get with that and got to understand that. So many people have looked at medical doctors like they're the saviors on the planet, and these guys are for the negative forces. You have to understand that. You can understand that we live in a universe of duality. Matter of fact, all creation is dualistic. The closer to the pure mind and consciousness, which is in the present moment, in the now, the closer you get to that, the less duality you sense. And the more now you feel, the more free, the more happy, the more joyous. With that said, let's link that feeling with the social consciousness. Understand that when you're talking about socialism, you're talking about the negative forces that want everybody to dress the same, look the same, walk the same, pay the World Bank the same. You know, and you have to wake up to that. That's the battle we're having in America, because some of the millenniums and some of the people have this concept of socialism, and it's born out of arrogance. Like a lot of movie stars in this country feel that things should be socialistic, but at the same time, they're individual and hiding their money, and they make all these claims. It is so two-faced on this planet that we have to change that. You never want to be two-faced, young guys and girls. You never want to lie. You always want to stand up for truth and honesty. Always. Sounds funky, but let me tell you, the whiplash back to you when you lie can be devastating. And the effect on others can be devastating, and that whiplash back to you, because however you affect another person's life, you get the blowback, whether you realize it or not. So, spiritually speaking, be very careful how you treat others. Give them the respect of the individuality they deserve. Everything is an individual. And when you feel individual and you get your power back and you have a sense of freedom because you're strong again, that's God. When they want to pull you in like everybody else, that's the negative forces. In so to speak, in that way. So be very careful with that. Understand that individuality and freedom are the hallmarks of creation and happiness and joy and all of those things. You want to enjoy your individuality, your freedom of expression. When you lose that is when the fear comes in, the pain comes in, all of these things that come in that take you away from yourself. And pretty soon everybody's manipulating you, using you, filling you full of propaganda that is untrue for their own devices. It's horrible here. So the word of the day is be awake, be aware, don't let people brainwash you, learn the truth, and always speak the truth. It's all cool stuff. You know, you've got a lot of associations out there that do nothing but spread lies because their finances are based on that. How do we awaken these people? Well, there's one important way, and you guys are doing it. You're helping others discover the simplicity and the universality of man's problems. How simple that is and how to correct it. The problem with that is that correcting decades at lifetimes of genetic weaknesses and lymph stagnation sometimes is not easy. Some of you guys are in the chronic levels of lymph stagnation, which is chronic acidosis. Remember, there's only two sides of chemistry. Remember, when you look at health, you don't forget about the concept of diseases. Set all that aside. That's man-made. That's medical doctor conceived. Because they can't explain anything, they have to put it in some form that allows them to treat and deal with the symptoms. Because if they told you, we don't know what the problem is, we're just going to throw everything at you we can to try and fix it. You can't do that anymore. People are at their chronic levels. And what's happening is they're killing so many more people nowadays because people are at the chronic levels. They're not at the acute levels anymore. You can suppress acute levels. Say you drink a milkshake, you get a sore throat, maybe some congestion in the sinus, you thought you caught a cold or flu-like symptom, and you suppress it with an antibiotic. You moved an acute condition in your body to a subacute condition. You keep drinking the milkshakes and the milks and the ice creams and the dead animals and stuff, and you keep creating acute manifestations, pushing those acute that you created in the past into subacute, the subacute into chronic, and then, of course, degeneration, which is what they call cancer, which is really just degeneration. That's all cancer, what they call cancer is. They're lost in space. When you start breaking down cells, that's what they call cancer. That is simply a degenerative state that your body's in, meaning it's been through all these cycles first. You have 4 phases that everybody understands and are awakened to. Acute, subacute, chronic, and degenerative. Man, so much of man. Now, I'm doing a lot of your school iris analysis. I apologize for this. I'm about a week and a half behind. My sister passed this Friday, and here's another person that was a naturopath that killed herself. And so I've been involved in a lot of crap for a week or so, and we've been fasting and doing all kinds of neat things. But it's enough to say, you want to protect yourself. Get your body health. This is your instrument, your vehicle while you're here on the planet. This idea that I can't change my diet because I don't want to, that shows you're not at a very high level of awareness. You can change that by starting to love yourself more and realizing you are an individual expression of the divine, of God. And your individuality goes right back to God. Everything you experience, God's experiencing. Because that's why He created you, to experience endless manifestations of itself on all levels. And that's throughout all the universes and all the realms, the different realms. Or as Jesus said, in my Father's mansion, there are many rooms. So it just is saying that there are many levels to creation. Why wouldn't there be? The idea that there's heaven and earth, and that's old-timey, dark agey stuff. Though there have been plenty of out-of-body travelers to inform and to understand that God's worlds are massive. It's like what NASA's discovering about the physical world anymore. The Big Bang Theory is going out because it's too massive. Someone told me they're in the millions of discovering galaxies right now. I don't know. But galaxies? How could we discover millions of galaxies when galaxies are most of them are multiple times bigger than ours? Just the surrounding ones were probably 1,000 times bigger than our galaxy. It's endless, fun stuff. But as a traveler and as a free agent, you guys can enjoy life on all levels and even enjoy the physical level here because it's tough right now. And it needs you guys. It needs the spiritual awakened people to hold their hand out and say, let us help you. Let us help you learn the simplicity of being well. Okay? And that's mind, emotions, and of course the physical body as well. Getting the physical body healthy helps to blow back into the emotions and make you more stable in that area, and also helps you to control the mind more. When your body is highly acidic, the mind starts to chatter like a maniac, and then your emotions are all over the place, and then your physical body starts deteriorating. So as you clean and stabilize and bring strength and stability to the consciousness of your cells, so there be to yourself. Cool stuff. Detoxification is simply the removal of that you put in or that your body creates as a reflex from what you put in. Example. We talk about, and Arnold Ehret was the one that brought this out probably the most, is mucus-forming foods. Mucus-forming foods are predominantly acid ash foods. Acid ash foods are foods that leave an acidic bump when they're broken down. And that's what we don't want. We want an alkaline ash bump. So that's your carbohydrates. So all this mucus that your body produces to protect itself from these foreign proteins, whether it's a cow's milk That's a foreign protein. It's not harmonious with the Homo sapien body. It is harmonious with the herbivore body. So when we start crossing species, we start interfacing with levels of diet that our body's not designed to eat. We have not learned that on this planet. Man has been eating like billy goats, and worse than omnivores. Omnivores do not eat the proteins that man does. Man eats more like carnivores with a dash of herbivore in there. Oh, and this has hurt him bad. This has destroyed the GI tract of man. This has destroyed the kidneys of man. This has created the sewer backup, the lymphatic backup of hell. And now we're faced with this. Now, you guys are the few in this whole world that understand that. And it's vital that we teach others, because the suffering is horrible. Horrible. And there's a lot of people that do not understand it. There's a lot of mates that do not understand that. I want to not forget one thing I want to talk about here on the side here. Okay. A few things I want to address while we're talking. Regenerative detoxification is what we all do. And it simply means that we're going to bring a base balance to the body to follow the blood dominance. That's essential. If you look at the main food for the Homo sapien, which is fruits and berries, they're base dominant. If you added the vegetables, they're base dominant, unless you pasteurize them, but these are still fairly base dominant foods. Shifting your diet to a predominantly base diet, ash diet, is key to your survival. We are steeped in the world of acid ash foods, acid forming foods. And this has destroyed man's tissues. And you can sit there and fight that if you want. My sister fought that. She smoked since she was 14. She was a naturopath, but not really. And so the poor thing, she just couldn't get herself together. And she, high protein diets. And of course her bowel wall was critically thickened, all kinds of things, starving to death. She died at about 50 pounds. And all I can tell you guys is that you've got to take care of yourself, because no one's going to take care of you. The sad thing, you got children, don't rely on anybody to take care of yourself but yourself. We've got a world where nursing homes and all these things, because people are losing it. Don't be one of those. Keep yourself on upper circuit brain and nerve if you're older. Keep yourself on some good herbs, because those herbs, I can't even tell you, I can't praise the botanical world. Thank you, Supreme One. I can't praise the botanicals enough. And for some of you, you get it, how much difference they make. It's unbelievable what herbs can do to you. They're the sweethearts of this planet, bar none. So the foods have been raked over. Man picks unripe. He uses high nitrogen fertilizers, high acidic fertilizers to bring the acid up to inspire growth. But you inspire growth with acids, then the tree becomes acidic, your fruit becomes more acidic, and now you got bitter fruit. That's not how you do things. But we are lost in our agriculture departments. We are lost in space. No one goes back to nature. And how does nature do things? Man is lost in his intellectualism, which has just about killed him. We have to pull back from extreme intellectualism, because it's created a lot of lies, a lot of narcissism, a lot of deaths. It just goes on and on and on. And then it serves no one well when you think you're better than someone else. It serves you not well, and it does serve anyone else. They'll pull away from you. So it doesn't serve you, plus you're going to get a blowback from that. You're going to get karmic blowback. Everything is cause and effect. So again, we've talked about this before. Get rid of this ridiculous concept of diseases and go right to cause and effect. When you have a symptom, ask yourself, how did I cause that? Because you're the one. Fork to mouth? Spoon to mouth? Absolutely. Hand to mouth? Absolutely. And you have to understand that not everything is considered a food for the human body. Certain things that we call food is not really food for us. and not really for any other creature. Good example, cheese. The most constipating food on the planet. What animal doesn't get constipated eating cheese? Including your dogs. I mean, this is ridiculous. And then, of course, it's a fungal food. So all these things that man has just loved has been what's making him sick. So man has to change his consciousness, or he's going to keep suffering, and his downline. You know, it's one thing if you want to suffer, go ahead, who cares? But your children, you know, that's some of the problems. So good news on some of the fronts, guys, with the tumors in the children's eyes and brains and stuff. All the tumors are reducing and coming down like normal. You guys are miracle workers. But you know why? Because you understand the lymphatic system. If one does not understand the lymphatic system like we're teaching it, because we are the premier understanders of the lymphatic system, no ego, truth, you don't know what's up. You can't identify symptomology, what's causing it. You have nothing to go by. Once you understand the great sewer system, immune system, cushioning system, lipid transport system, all the things like this, when you understand that, then you understand, and acids, then you understand why man suffers and why there's all this inflammation everywhere and why there's deterioration and the breakdown of cells, no matter what name they put on it. You want to understand it truthfully and properly, because they use fear to drive their modality. We use love and truth to drive our modality. Which would you rather have? I thought so. Absolutely. And we're anytime obliged to sit down with any medical doctor and have a discussion right on the YouTube about this. Love it. Matter of fact, we can bring Patty in, the great A&P professor in biochemistry. I'm a biochemist as well. But still, they don't hold truth. And it's time we all start holding a little bit of truth, because this planet's a lot of sickness and a lot of unhealthiness and a lot of closed-mindedness and just people that just can't get out of their own ways. They're just suffering so bad at all levels, from depression and unhappiness all the way to the physical weaknesses and stuff. So detoxification, and the reason we call it regenerative detoxification, is because that's how you regenerate tissue. If you can't remove the mucus and acids that have become stagnant in the body. Think about this, when we talk about chemistry, there's only two sides. The acid side is a side that creates agglomulation, meaning everything dehydrates and starts to bond together. You see that when you pasteurize and when you cook, chemistry is torn apart and rebonded. Fats are rebonded. Everything is rebonded and almost impossible for the human body to break apart. So some of these pasteurized goodies, and I think the American Heart Association recommends margarine. Really? Margarine is about 2 chemical steps away from, well, you've got margarine, you've got lecithin, and you've got plastic. So you way up in that area of chemistry that you don't want to take. If you want to use butter, use 100% natural grass-fed cow butter. If you're going to use it. But detoxification and regenerative detoxification is the only way to rebuild the human body. And you see it. We've proved it every day. You guys are proving it the world over. People are going, what? Because you understand that when the body becomes to the acid side, it begins that dehydration, agglomulation, what they call a cationic environment. And it's a stagnated environment. The more stagnation, the harder it is for your body to come in here and loosen that up. How come your body isn't doing it? Because you're eating acid ash or acid forming foods, which leaves acidity in the body. Now add that on top of the fact that every cell in your body releases byproducts or metabolitic waste from their activity of consumption of nutrition. of ADP, AMP, and ADP. All these, ATP, the adenosine tri-di and monophosphates. All of the things that the body uses for energy mechanisms and for all these different factors, there's always chemical byproducts released in the interaction of chemistry. We know that from cars, we know that from factories. That's a proven fact. How does your body get rid of these metabolitic acids? Medical doctors say, well, we don't know. They dump them into the blood. And so they convince massage therapy, they convince the world that your body just dumps all that waste into the blood. Oh, really? Think about it. For those at A and P, think about that and the stress that pounds of acids into the blood would do to you every day. And remember, Patty and I were talking about the calcium buffering system. Well, there's a cholesterol buffering system. And those are the two things that man suffers from the most in terms, except for mucus and acids. They have calcifications and they have cholesterol plaquing. All of this is done to try to deal with this agglomerated acid condition that the body has created from your diet, that you created from your acid ash foods. All beans are acid ash foods. All dead animals are acid ash foods. 99% of all grains are acid ash foods. Your dairy products, mostly pasteurized, are going to be acid ash foods. Your raw, maybe not so much. So you eat any of those foods, you guys? Grains, beans, or animal foods? All acid ash foods. So the more that we eat that, and especially when we have these big Barbies and these big steaks and all this stuff, the kidneys are going, no, not more, no. And we have literally wrecked our kidneys. And the adrenals blow back on top. So this is why all the blood pressure problems, all the blood sugar problems, all the lymphatic problems. This is the center hub of all those factors. Mineral utilization. The kidneys and adrenals are the hub of lymphatic drainage, are the hub of mineral utilization, is it the hub of your sodium potassium pump, is that and that's your ability to absorb nutrition, is it the hub of blood sugar issues? I mean, the hub of your autonomic nervous system. I mean, we can just keep going. The kidney and adrenals, vital. And when you break those down, you see blood sugar problems, you see mineral problems, you see neurological problems, and you see lymphatic problems, which are your tumors, your inflammation, your swelling, your cysts, your boils, your pimples, all of that side of chemistry. The breakdown of tissue, your atypical cells, your what they call the cancer cells, which is with the degenerative, degraded cells. That's all it is. There's nothing anymore outside of that. And when you try to seek outside of that, you get lost. Like the medical doctors are lost. And the only thing they have to do is yell and fill you full of fear. We had a naturopath, a punk naturopath from California, down on Pat, which, that's amazing. She's a medical doctor. She's an A&P professor, long-term A&P professor, and a biochemistry professor. And he's jumping on her? I don't think so. And I'm a senior naturopath. And he's jumping on us? I wish I'd have talked with him. But this is the sort. He was schooled in the two schools of naturopathic medicine. I'm sorry for you guys, but you're wrong school. So, anybody ever heard of the Essene School of Naturopathy? It's a new school we're creating. We're going to make sure that when you leave our naturopathic school, our School of Naturopathy, and it's going to be a fun school. And you guys, we're going to have everything in there, and we're not going to charge like Bastyr and Southwest. We're going to teach you everything you need to know. And when you walk out of our school, you're going to be able to sit down at a desk, and you're going to be able to take any client at any level and be able to reverse them and rebuild them. Try getting a Bastyr or Southwest student. I've had plenty sitting in here with me trying to learn. And I'm looking at them, well, what did you go to 4 years, 9 months for? What did they teach you about? Nothing. And this is the problem. You know, when you go and spend all this money and they're teaching you bogus things like high protein diets and vitamin mineral supplementation, and that there's all these deficiencies out here, and that you use these for diseases, this is lost as the medical community. And then it builds narcissism in these naturopaths. It's like, what? And you lovely, beautiful people out there trust in naturopaths because they represent nature, right? No, not anymore. Isn't that sad? So we're going to turn this around too. We're going to turn a lot of things around. Also the use of herbs and herbology. Get out of this idea you're using herbs for diseases. That never works that way. And it will never work. That's why they talk about herbs and disease. They don't work. Of course they don't work, because herbs are not meant for diseases. Herbs are meant for body parts, not diseases. Diseases is man's creation. Body parts is God's creation. And that's why the herbs are here. Never fear those babies. With that said, I want to interject this. We have a lady that has been on black salve, internal black salve capsules, I suppose, for 2 years. And when we got her just a short period of time back, Attila's just got her, he told her she had to come off of it. The only smart thing to advise. Because he looked at her blood work and her liver enzymes were out the roof. Black salve, black bloodroot, poke root, extremely powerful and in high dosages toxic herbs. You can't take these for long term, not meant to be. And it's a wrong focus. You're trying to use an herb to cure cancer. That doesn't work. All right, so let's put it into our realm. You're trying to use an herb to break down tumors. Well, you're a little more successful, but you won't be successful until what? You get your kidneys filtering and your skin is sweating. Unless you fix the eliminative organs, because they've been so broken down by these acid ash food diets, which hit the kidneys right off. And if you smoke weed, you smoke cigarettes, you smoke anything, you're putting acids right into your blood and it goes right to the bladder and kidneys. And you're going to break them down. You have to be careful about acids, guys, because I'm telling you, that's man's problem. He just seems to love the acid side of chemistry. It's biting him and hurting him all over the place, but he doesn't realize it. It's that simple. And yet you have this complexity and intellectualism, this gigantic, unaware system here that is hurting people so much and killing people at so much and taking their financial stability away from them. It's a mess. We need to change that. We're the God people. We represent the very Creator who created all this. It's got itself lost as its role as medical doctors, as its role as this and that. So the other parts of God is coming in and say, hey man, you got it wrong. We got to talk here. You got too out of balance with the mind. And we have to talk. We have to balance out. Well, that's difficult when you're lost in that state, because you naturally pull back and go after things. So we have to demonstrate, which is just what you all have been doing. That's why I love you guys. You've been demonstrating to the universes. You have people watching. They're not even embodied yet. You have a lot. You can't believe what's all going on. Whoa! This universe is hopping with activity at every frequency you can imagine. There's frequencies out. You have to understand there's life at different frequencies, not just one frequency that the planet Earth is at. I mean, you can't even imagine how gigantic it is. It's not meant to imagine anyway. But if you'll pull back in the present moment, you'll get a great understanding of it, because you will start to expand infinitely. It's amazing. And you'll have some fun. There's a limit to that while you still have a physical body, though, that's for sure. But that's fun, right?
Well,
what?
yes.
What'd you say?
Give me a Y, give me an E, give me an F. Yeah!
That's telling them, girls. So, detoxification isn't always fun, because it requires a shift in what you're eating, no question. So when you're looking at detoxification, you definitely the only way you're going to inspire it is away from the acid ash foods into the alkaline ash foods. When you start to move to the alkaline ash foods, that immediately starts detoxification because you're creating an anionic. There's chemical reasons for all this. You're bringing in high electrolyte foods, which is now in the ionization process where the acids are stealing the electrons. That's how you breed hydration. And it just takes a while. So one of the things you look at is your urine. Do you have cloudiness in your urine? And is your urine a little acidic? Is it in the 6s or is your urine in the 7 or 8s? If your urine is in the 7 or 8s, your electrolytes are basically working, but you're losing a lot of them because you have a huge body full of acid stagnation. It's going to take a while to hydrate it, all these miles of pathways. So you have to realize patience is key. The problem with that is you have some people a few weeks away or a few months away from death. When you take a normal person that is highly acidic and in a chronic stage and you set them right on the top of the mountain, it'd be like a pyramid where you set your, ow, oh, whoa. That's because it is so powerful, and most people are not used to powerful diets. High electrical, high alkaline chemical diets, they're not used to that. They're fearful of that. And when they go on that, they start having symptoms. Everything starts breaking loose, mucus, cold and flu-like symptoms, aches and pains, absolutely. And it can be pain. You know, wherever you have a buildup of acids, as that hydrates and being astringed, you could have more pain. And you can use herbs that are anti-inflammatories, and in the worst case scenarios you can get down to Advil and things like this. But some of you advanced people, never let them put you on morphine sulfate. Once you go on morphine sulfate, the chances you pulling out of that are very, very difficult. That's almost the end all, and that's what they put you on when they put you to hospice. You can't let that happen. Well, however pain you're in, you have to meter that and go way down on the opioid scale till you don't wreck your nervous system. Take brain and nerve to buffer that. Get the adrenals to buffer that with higher neurotransmitters, because neurologically you'll bring yourself down to not even breathing and death. So they don't know how to fix people in these advanced states because they don't even know how to fix them in the beginning stages. If all the natural healers fixed everybody in their acute stages, you'd never see anything you see now. You'd never see anything. And if everybody learned that, yeah, if you had a little cheat here and there and you got a little congestion and you let it come out and fix it and then you're good and go on, okay. But we don't fix them at the time. We don't fix these acute manifestations that we create. We keep suppressing them. And then they become subacute, and again, down that road to chronic and degenerative. And man is predominantly in the chronic and degenerative stages right now. Very, very serious. Can't emphasize that. So, if your detoxification is rough, I've been through some very rough detoxes myself. Not as bad as some of you, but you know, what do you want in your world? Wellness? And ride the bull to get there? Or do you want to sit there and keep suppressing your symptoms until death takes you over in pain and fear and suffering? You know, you have to look at that. And you must learn, because no one is going to do this for you. You're talking to a husband of a woman, and you know, these people expect us to do the work for you. No, this is a self-help modality. If you're at the point where you can't, like Alzheimer's or something like that, or dementia, yeah, then we want to help them big time. But I'm talking about people that can get their act together and start gaining control of their worlds. And you might have to go somewhere and spend a week or two alone by yourself and start getting into yourself and saying, you know what, I'm okay. Look at your mind. Are you narcissistic? How do you treat other people? Start looking at how you deal with other people. Matter of fact, it wouldn't be a bad idea to spend the next week and watching yourself and your interactions to others. How do you treat others? How sharp is your tongue? How sweet is your tongue? You know what I'm saying? Because we need that love. We need that 11-11. We need the individuality and freedom of the one, but also the allness of the one. The fact that each individual expression comes out of the one God. So, let me go ahead and answer a few questions here. But detoxification is an art. If you get ratted out too much, you want to have some cooked vegetables to slow it down. You want this to be as pleasurable as possible, especially if you're not near death. You've got plenty of time. If you don't have tumors, you got plenty of time. Remember the endocrine glands. When you're going after your body, you're always, always, always going after what system? The lymphatic system. Always. Just because this big, huge AMA doesn't understand it, and no other modality understands it, doesn't mean we don't. God's brought us here to do this, and you guys too. You're all becoming awake of this. So, it's a big deal. It really is. So it's fun too, isn't it? You're changing a whole planet that is in desperate need. It has been full of lies, propaganda, deceit, control, killing. This is a warring planet. And it will always be until man's health starts to turn around, because the very acid ash foods makes for aggression and hatred. It sucks the calcium out of you and makes for depression and despair and unhappiness. That's why you have to get on the high electrolyte rich fruits, berries, melons, and vegetables. That's the diet that man can live well on, with the accent more on the fruits and the berries and the melons. Have some salads. I'm going to go have a big one here pretty soon. Looking forward to it, because I've been on a fruit fast for, well, it's about my 6th or 7th day. I'm feeling good, feeling like I'm ready to go. I say, when you add the energy of consciousness to the energy of the raw, it can take you out there. That's why when I was a fruitarian earlier, I couldn't maintain that lifestyle. And I don't push it on anybody, because it's a very powerful lifestyle. You have to have a lot of balance, and I was only 20 years old then. So I didn't have my balance that I needed to be able to channel that energy correctly. And so it was interesting. Interesting ride. But remember, detoxification, whether regenerative detoxification, whether anybody realizes it or not, is that golden key. The golden key that unlocks the world of beauty, love, joy, health, vitality, getting rid of tumors, inflammation, all of the things like that. Remember, inflammation is your natural immune response. Your natural immune response. That's what inflammation is. To what? What is your body responding to? Diseases? Where do they come from? Cause and effect. No, your body's responding to acidosis. Acidosis is the side of chemistry that is foreign, is not meant for the body to be. No creature can live in a state of acidosis for long. No creature. Even the cat family has to put up with a higher acidosis than most other creatures. And that karmic sadness to that is that they sleep 20 hours a day, they have low endurance, they might have big claws and big teeth and that power at once, but it takes long and then they'll have nothing. Take a primate, he can keep going and keep going and keep going. You don't know how to stop that baby. So, and that's true for the Homo sapien that is high on this, and you athletes. If you've not touched 100% raw and felt that power in your muscles, forget it the size, feel the power, and the power running through your body, the need to run and to express. Unreal. Unreal. A cut above, I say. So good stuff. But detoxification has its ups and its downs. Learn about those. You know, there's a lot of great books out there. The natural hygienic movement, especially before it bumped with what's his name and become the Fit for Life, Harvey Diamond. He can't even fix his own self. So, you know, the natural hygienic people, even though predominantly vegetable thinkers, at least they understand detoxification a lot. They use fasting and things like that. You guys have learned a little. Dry fasting is excellent. Water fasting is cool. But these levels you want to be careful with if you're extreme in the acidosis community. You want to have balance in your thinking. A short 24-hour dry fast could help open up the kidneys for you, okay? But be careful with that. Because when you start breaking up your lymphatic system too quickly, it can send you to the hospital. Because it's just, you break up things too much, you can choke. Just so much mucus breaking up, you almost can't handle it. It's not good. So, everything in its right time. Get your feet on the path. You're surrounded with love of all of us. And all of you beautiful souls out there are helping others. We're all here to back you. All the beautiful Facebook sites. Artie's getting shifted around a little bit now. Some neat things are going to be happening with Artie now. So there's a lot of neat things going on here. And exciting things. Any of you guys know how to get a hold of the mother on the Bush, Alaska, the Bush people? I did a video for them. We're trying to. Even the producer's trying to get into them because they'll kill her. If not, she's got lung cancer and they'll kill her. There's no other way. She's not in a state of health or wellness, and there's no way. This is criminal. This is totally criminal to me. And it will be criminal in the future when our law enforcement and our Congress gets what's going on here. When you use high acid chemistry to treat a high acid condition of the body, you're killing your patient. Whether you do it in the name of modern medicine or in the name of science, that's all bullshit. That's all smoke and screen. So you have to be careful. When you treat acid on top of acid, any chemist will tell you, and if they're not, they don't deserve to wear the word chemist. You cannot add high acids to a high acid condition because what do you get? More acid. You have to balance it with the other side of chemistry. And if your belief system is that man is in an alkalosis state, you're living on Mount Stupid. So you couldn't be a physician if you believe in that. Not a true physician. It's acidosis, and it's well proven. And this is a serious problem. You can only treat that, if you're going to treat that, with the base side of chemistry. That's why pharmaceuticals are offering so many people. It's terrible. So just remember these few things to help yourself on this journey of wellness and happiness and joy. Some of you are suffering in pain and depression. Hang in there. Grab a hold of what you can in your beingness. Know deeper within yourself, beyond your physical body, that you're this beautiful being, that your body has been distorted because you've been on a planet full of lies and propaganda and distortion. And we're sent here to help change this around, because if we can't, no one can, and the planet will be destroyed. I guarantee you. If we can't do this, it's done, because no one else can. So it's up to us, and we're doing it. And I'm here till we get it to a certain point. So it's being done.
Yes.
Yep. All right. Let me get one question in, then I'm going to take a break and go to lunch, and then, yeah. Okay. Now, this is from Bonnie. And she says, "Hello, I've been taking your Fab 4 and loving the way I'm feeling. But I have also been taking a prescription for a TB infection for the last 30 years. For the last 30 days. My doctor did a blood test to check my liver, and I have an elevated ALT result. Normal range, I know what it is, for this lab, and mine is 51. All right. 51 is not that high, but I want to tell you this. Use a liver gallbladder formula. Go after the kidney and adrenals. Make sure you're filtering. Go after that lymph system, because when you're breaking down the liver, you're either doing it from your acid blood, from dumping acid ash foods into the blood. That can hit a liver bump, or it's a lymph system interstitially in the liver, which is the problem most of the time, which is still the blowback from the blood. I mean, someday we'll get into a more intellectual discussion about the lymph system and why we think that the lymph vessels a lot of time piggyback the vascular system. But you want to get this ALT down. Also, look at your alkaline phosphatase, and see if that's involved whatsoever. Everything else is in normal range. Good. But, remember, labs are a little quirky too. Some things have to be below normal ranges, like your creatinine and your bun. Those two have to be below normal ranges to be healthy. They don't understand creatinine levels and proper bun levels. That's your urea nitrogen levels. They don't understand those levels. There's a few stats that don't show up properly when you're healthy. And what I've done through all these years as a chemist, I've been to a lot of blood chemistry seminars. I've been into blood chemistry for a lot of years, and I've been watching it. And all I can say is that when you're healthy, we see where all your stats go. And we know right where your stats should be. And that's what they should look at. What's the stats on truly healthy people? They keep changing their stats because everybody is breaking down and they keep going up, so they keep moving their stats up to rectify it. Like your PSAs, they moved up from 3 to 4. Your blood sugars, they're like, well, you got 123. And they just creep up on all these things. No. So the liver enzymes, what you want to do is, if you're on 2 lymphatic formulas, go down to 1. If you're on lymphatic 5, get off of it. Anything blood or poke root is going to elevate liver enzymes if you're on it too long. All right? We don't keep you on it but a month at the most. And then we shift away from that. Because we're not trying to rip tumors out of you. That doesn't work unless we're drawing it out of you. So, just go after it, go your liver gallbladder formula, use the kidney, adrenals, and the lymphatic formula, cleaning your lymph system, all you got to do. Or you could just put yourself on a fruit fast. 10-day, 20-day grape fast ought to pull that down nicely. I'm wondering if the herbs I'm taking is affecting the test. My feeling is that the antibiotic, this could be you never want to blame the herbs for liver enzyme elevation except your extreme poke root, blood root, those type of herbs. And you have to be on them for a bit of a time. Now, prescription pharmaceuticals, a whole nother story. They will definitely break down your liver and cause elevated liver enzymes. So, this TB infection you're taking like this, you know what? You're in a detoxification mode. So what you're doing here is you're detoxifying, but you're also treating. So you're doing this. Detoxification will clean all of this out of your lungs, out of your bronchi, will clean all this interstitially. So pharmaceuticals don't do that. So with your focus, if it was me, that's the only way I can address this. If it was me, I'm not going to go your route here with the antibiotics, because think about this. Why is the bacteria in the human body in the first place? What's the role and job of bacterium? In your sewer system, it is extremely evident. If there's a medical doctor that doesn't understand a sewer system, which most of them don't, maybe they should go back to school and take building trades for a while and understand what sewer systems are for and why septic tanks are pretty full of bacterium. And no one goes and kills the bacterium out of their septic tank, right? Because what would happen? Oh, it wouldn't take long, maybe a day or two, and you have your toilet would start backing up into your house. Because their job is to break down life and turn it back into the atomic structure again. They're the good guys. It's man's internal environment that's the bad guys, and every lymph node must have bacterium to break down metabolitic acids. And if those people are more in the chronic stages, like arthritises and fibromyalgias and lupuses and Lyme's. These are chronic stages of lymph stagnation. That's why they blame everything but the lymph system, because you have all types of quirky microbes and stuff, and even bigger ones. Where was I going with that? But you can't treat that sort of thing, and you kill those bacteria in your lymph nodes, you have no way to break down your acids. And that's where you see these chronic people in chronic pain, because they don't have the bacteria to break you down. They don't have the bacteria to break down these acids because they've used antibiotics to treat them. That's medical thinking. Medical thinking has destroyed the human being. And it's time we all wake up to that. Now we can embrace a good medical doctor and say, listen, man, you got to change your way of thinking. If he's not narcissistic, he will. We have tons of good medical doctors that are curing things. We have a great medical doctor in Canada, I told you, of lymphedema. And he came to me and he gave me a hug and he said, medical doctors don't cure lymphedema. Of course they don't, because they don't understand lymphedema. You don't understand something, you label it a disease, and then you start treating the symptoms. You're killing a lot of people doing that. You're hurting a lot of people doing that, and a lot, massive amounts. And yet, it's amazing. So we're here to change this, and I need your help. So, sweetheart, you get in there, you get on a raw diet. 100% raw. Clean that out, and that'll break your liver enzymes down perfectly. And also use the liver gallbladder formula. Yeah, that's it. That's not difficult at all. Will Dr. Morse herbs enable me to test Gov antibody negative, not viral load undetectable? Well, it's possible, I suppose, if your viral loads were dormant, that they might not be detectable, but I don't know about that. I still see blood workups where you show these. It's the problem. Here's the big problem. The medical community, again, is using the blood to try to see what the problem is in man. The blood is a fraction of the evidence of a problem, and in most cases do not show you what's really going on. Many of you have come to me with perfect blood work, and I can get you perfect blood work, and you still be full of tumors and acidosis. Why? Wrong system. Now, the blood is showing the liver enzyme elevation, which is positive, because that is probably a lymphatic problem. That is where you can see some factors in blood. You also can use your antigens and things like this, your cancer markers and things like this. Yes. So there are ways to use the blood to determine that, absolutely. But what is, hands down, the best tool that man has been given, that he can see the whole shebang with one look? CAT scan? Nope. MRI? Nope. Iridology. You combine blood, iridology, symptomology, and you've just about got everything that's going on. You got a full picture of the human body and what's going on. You get to see the genetic weaknesses and strengths. You get to see the level, the condition of the lymphatic system and of the cells. Where are the cells and what tissues? You can't beat that, and it was discovered and brought out by a medical surgeon. And as normal, a medical doctor can discover the neatest things, and then they boo-hoo it. Too bad, huh? But the only one way to get rid of viral loads and your antibody efforts to deal with that is just simply detox. Again, the universal way to deal with things. Because what's the problem with even antibodies? Here's a good example. How about a big goiter and your antibodies going nuts? Yeah, we always have our beautiful soul that likes to come over here. Roseanne Calabrese, Dr. Roseanne Calabrese, comes over here all the time to talk to our class. But massive goiter and antibodies out the roof. She knocked it right out. So, it worked. She worked on herself. It took her several months, but she did it. And it proved to her she was fearful because the antibodies were so high. It's like, don't fear anything. If you fear anything, you fear medical doctors' invasion of that and how they take your thyroid out and cut half your throats out, and all the crap that they do to try to treat a very simplistic problem. You've lost kidney filtration. And when you lose kidney filtration, and the ability to sweat, you have lost the ability to rid yourself of the acids created by your activity of movement and by your metabolism and by all factors. And when you lose that, you're in trouble. It starts moving. It can take you years and years to feel it. And that's the problem. It can take you 50, 20, 30 years to feel that extreme acidosis, but by the time you do, you're in trouble. And then it just takes a while to rewind that. That's what you have to understand, is where are you on this acute, subacute, chronic, or degenerative scale? And if you're into the chronic and degenerative levels, it's going to take you a little while to back yourself back, guys. Okay, but you can back yourself back and have your life back. Unless you're one of those people that don't want to live anymore, then, you're in control of your own destiny, I'll have to tell you. So kill yourself if you want, but you don't need to. You can get your body feeling good again, and it will blow back into you, make yourself feel good. But each of you should at least try to get beyond thought and emotions for a while. We've been talking about this spiritually through all these videos. Pull yourself back away from your physical body and consciousness, away from your emotions in your mind, and sit back and observe for a while. And the knowledge of all this will pour in. The jigsaw puzzle of life will start to expose itself because you're not lost in thoughts. Thoughts created by others. Books written by others who have no clue either. You know what I mean? All right. Oh, let me read one more. I get bad breath every time I eat anything other than fruits, vegetables, and red quinoa. Lettuce was actually only veggie I was eating. Wow. I can't gain weight without eating 3,500 calories a day, and even then, if I go to work, I lose weight and can't gain because I just burn it all right off or something. All right? So I have to eat even more. My muscles get fatigued immediately. It does not feel right. I'm going to do one long fast, a 30-day grape fast. Okay. Bad breath. Decay. All right? So what's decayed? Is it in your stomach? It's in your gut. So it is in your stomach. Are you decaying along the esophageal wall? Do you have decay in your mouth and your tongue? This is the smell of decay and protein decay. And you're just way too acidic, and it sounds like you've been a meat eater or something in your past, because the smell of necroticism or the smell of decay is not overly good. So bad breath shows protein acidosis, and you just have to detox yourself out of that, my friend. You got to go after your gut. Well, what else you got going on here? I see two possibilities here. One real strong one with the decay smell, malabsorption. And that here's your sewer system again. That's why the smell, sewer system, and it is backed up interstitially, meaning in the wall around the cells of your small, maybe even the stomach, maybe right on up. And you're getting that smell from that, but at the same time your cells are getting chewed on. So you got to be real careful with this. And you're never going to gain weight like that. And pretty soon you'll be like my sis, you're going to go down to nothing. Because you couldn't take care of that. You either forgot or you didn't want to fix your filtration of your kidneys, the key to this whole thing. So you got to do that. No matter how skinny you're going to get doing this grape fast, man, you got to fix this. And there's no easy solution to this. There isn't. If you want complexity, the complexity is the level of lymph stagnation that most people are at. That's the complexity of this. Forget the complexity of diseases. That doesn't even exist. The complexity is how do we get into someone fast and save them from extreme malabsorption. Now, you could have hyperthyroidism, but you should be able to go to the lab and look at that through your TSHs and your T3s and T4s. Because you want to look at the pituitary too. So you could have a little hyperthyroidism, you're just burning. And what would you do in a hyper-stimulated case? The same thing. Because, let's go back to these 4 stages. Acute, subacute, chronic, and degenerative. When you start to create mucus and acidosis in the body, this can hyperstimulate pituitaries, thyroids, adrenals, anything. It can make things hyper or hypoactive. Either way. Just have to look at symptomology. Subacute can do the same thing. Subacute can make things hyperactive or hypoactive, but it tends to start moving things downward. Chronic levels, all hypoactive. Everything hyper, everything goes to hypo, everything goes to underfunctioning, and then into death. The natural cycle and movement of life. It's also the 4 stages, or you can even break that down to 3 stages of lymph stagnation. The acute manifestation of lymph stagnation turns a blue eye white. Any white in your blue eyes is a acute sign of lymph stagnation. Yellow in your eye. The white turning yellow is now a subacute stage of manifestation. And we have an iris chart coming out for you guys, the only one in the world on lymphatic iridology. You're going to see colors and what they mean. We're working on it right now. Chronic stages of lymph stagnation in a blue eye turns it brown. And I've showed you before, we've got brown eyes, total brown eyes that you only see a speck of blue here or there or under nerve rings. And as we detox them, the blue starts coming forth. This is chronic stages of lymph stagnation. Degeneration in a brown or blue eye simply blackens the eye, turns it black wherever that is. That's not good at all. Now, in a brown eye, the acutes turns the light brown. Most brown eyes are light brown. In an acute manifestation, it turns that light brown eye a little darker. Shades of brown now. Not other colors, shades of brown. Acute, subacute, a little browner, and chronic makes a light brown eye turn very dark brown. So these are ways to identify these levels of problems within yourself and the degree you have to work them out of yourself. Remember, orange is a sulfur. But even if you're in a hyper stage, you're in acute or subacute, there's only one way to fix it. Regenerative detoxification, that golden key that unlocks the door of man's suffering. As simplicity and as simple as that is. But that's the beauty of it too. Should you spend an entire lifetime chasing the health of this body when there's so much more to create and experience? No. That's why this planet's kind of not growing, suffering. It's reached the height of intellectualism because anything more than this is going to destroy the world. You just have to bring that spiritual balance into this world. The Dalai Lama's talked about it many times. All the spiritual beings have talked about it. The Hopi spiritual Indians, the elders have talked about it. The Sioux elders have talked about it. You know, all these spiritual giants have talked about this for quite a while now. Man just doesn't listen. Well, man has to take these off because it only hurts one. It only hurts the self. You could hurt other people, but you're going to pay for that. But the self, and of course, you're going to pay for that. So, I hope this helps you. And I think what I'll do is just cut this video off now. It's a little short, but let's cut this off so we can get this all up for you. And then I'll come in here and dig some more maybe this afternoon. But I apologize greatly. I'm just so busy. I have so many eyes to do from the class. You guys might be waiting a little while because I didn't realize how audio it can take my voice away after doing 20 iris analysis. That's a half hour each constantly talking. So I'm working on them. So I love you guys. May the blessings be. And let's heal this world, okay?